Todd is not going to be here today, so I am here.
Okay.
But let's start like he always likes to, and who's got some good news they would like to share with us?
I'll go first and get mine out of the way.
By out of the way,
Um,
I'm assuming you mean like celebrate it hugely, right?
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
while everybody's in a good mood.
yeah.
Closing today. Have a closing Monday that I won't be able to attend because I'll be on my 1 week vacation in Curacao.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's fun.
So yeah, we're staying at a sandals
Wow.
resort there in one of those swim up rooms and yeah,
Incredible.
yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So
Have you been there before?
no, we went to the one of the ones in Jamaica last year and loved it. It's the
Okay.
all-inclusive place.
Yeah.
And so if you're there and book one, you get a bunch of perks. And one of them was this crazy swim up room. And so anyway, so we're going there. It's the newest one that they have and it's supposed to be super cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't
You will
that
have to
near?
tell me what that's like. So my wife
Okay.
and I's 20th anniversary is next year.
Okay.
And we're throwing around all sorts of ideas. We've thrown
Yeah.
around St. Lucia because that's somewhere I've always wanted to go.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But something like that. I've not
Yeah.
drawn to any one place.
Okay.
Isn't that near like Venezuela, Curacao?
I don't know. I guess I should look.
You know what, Jeff? I got you, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's
Let me
do
tell you how
this in
my
real
vacations go.
time.
Just
Check it out real quick.
tell me what day to put my crap in the car. That's all I want to know.
Do you need a
Uh,
bathing suit here at this place, or is
I'm
it
sure.
optional?
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know about that.
Didn't
I
know.
hope I hope for their sake that it's not because they're in for an international uproar if I show up naked on the beach there.
okay. So if you knew that the country of Curacao is a constituent island country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands,
Yeah,
Oh,
located in
I
the
didn't know
southern
that.
Caribbean Sea,
mm,
you
mm.
win.
Okay.
That
I thought it
I
was
didn't
was
know.
Dutch.
I did not know that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, Dutch would be Netherlands. I don't know why I was thinking Venezuela, but hey, that's even good.
Okay, there you go. There's our
Nice.
Nice.
Curacao knowledge for the week,
There
everybody.
you go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Continue with your weeks.
Now we have
Who else has something good and positive they would like to share?
Mm.
Had a interview this morning with a young lady that I think I'm going to end up hiring for my Florida office. So
Okay, what role?
cool.
it's an agent.
Okay, sweet. It's awesome. Love it.
Brian, have you already shared our 15 sales? We're halfway sold out of our new building. I think maybe you did 2 weeks ago, our new building in Florida. So that's Brian and his team. So
Man,
it
that's
was
great.
stale. Yeah, it was stale for a long time. So we got a definite, we're closing on the property in June. And we're being funded right now. So
Excellent.
Gonna
it'll be our
have
first building in Florida.
Love it.
Man, that's got to be tough selling something that's not there.
It is.
Yeah.
So, but we have 15 out of the 30 sold. It'll be our
Yeah.
smallest. Will be our smallest building we've ever built. But the condominiums themselves are very nice size, large.
Yeah.
They're about 35 over 3,500 square feet. So
Dang.
That's awesome. And hey, Jeff, if you're interested, I have this block of gold right here that I'd be willing to sell you.
All right.
Discounted price.
All right.
We'll call it 250K,
Okay.
but it will be worth a lot more than that.
That's a
Okay.
pretty good size nugget.
It's pretty good size. Yeah. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
see it, but
Yep.
it's here. And, it'll be yours when it's ready.
All
there
right.
you go. Wholesale.
I'm writing you a check right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I've got to pay for my trip to Curacao.
Yeah.
Uh, what else? One or two more. Steph, this is where you let people know that you made it out of team training, agent in training, and you're officially on the team.
That's right. I am officially part of the Todd Tramonte home selling team as of last Thursday. So thank you very
Steph
much.
made it.
I'm
Excellent.
on my own now. I am like trying to sell now,
There you
officially
go.
on
Congratulations.
my own.
Uh, we don't need to
Thank
do
you.
anything big on it. Kevin will not be around with us. We didn't feel like it was the best fit for him or for us. We're excited for Kevin's future, and we're going to help him figure out where he should be sitting. So, but we are thrilled to have Steph staying with us on the team. So,
Thank y'all. Yep, and I'm
uh,
thrilled to be here.
one more. Give me one more good news.
Yeah, I'll go. I am currently working on my next two big client event for the year. One is in July and one is in October. So got the day set, got the venue booked. Now I just got to do the rest of the work, but
Yep.
at
What are
least
you doing?
Yeah, where that?
uh, in July we're having a pool party with hamburger, hot dogs, margaritas. It's just a bunch of game for family and kids to play. I
Yeah,
rent out pretty cool place. It looked like an old car shop. Looked
Hmm,
like, from the movie Cars. And it's indoor, outdoor. It
Oh,
have
that's cool.
like
yeah.
little rides for the kids and
Wow.
I want to
yeah.
come.
So that's that one is July 18th. And then October 10th is my annual clients family photo event, which I'm working on the gifts that they get to
Hmm.
take home. Every year
Nice.
they come, they do their family picture, they get to eat, and then they take home a gift. They got a bottle of homemade vanilla extract last year branded to me, and then this year they're getting a candle. So
love it.
yeah.
Nice.
You said Scott's love language right there.
Yeah.
They get the candle.
Where's Todd when you need him?
I know, right? I know. I know how you feel about candles, but
DM me should send him on.
I'm like, got a show.
Love it.
But yeah.
My good news, because I haven't been on Strategy Call since Mastermind, was DM's eggs that we got. We got a dozen. Incredible. They were so good. My wife was so happy when I came home, and they were all gone within the week. They were great.
I'll
So
bring you some more. Did you taste the $10,000 I spent?
I tasted every penny. And she said that the branding on your box was just the cutest thing. She was like, that is adorable.
Thank you, thank you.
So she loved it. No, thank you. Okay, I have a plan for the day, but I want to quick open up if anybody has anything specific you need to ask or want some help with as we start.
I got a quick one.
Perfect. And then we'll do handle all this stuff and then we'll move into what I have planned. So go
Okay.
ahead, Jeff.
This is for Texas peeps only. What do y'all know about this My State MLS?
Mostate?
My
My
State
State
MLS.
MLS.
Mos?
My State, MY State.
It's the first I'm
Oh,
hearing about it.
yeah, Mostate.
You
I
said
don't know.
Texas,
Tell
but
us about it.
you said Texas only, but I'm on it for Indiana.
Yeah. It may be nationwide.
So
I read it wrong as Texas. I thought it said my.
It is nationwide from what I'm
Yeah.
seeing. Go ahead,
Okay.
Kimberly, with what you've got from it.
yeah, so I do use it because I'm on 3 boards. So I'm on my main board, an extra board, and my state MLS. And the thing I like about it is it's an extra website for branding, and it costs me I think $350 a year to be on it.
Okay.
And it does allow like extra branding. So like if you wanted to like boost one of your listings, you can pay an extra $200.
Okay.
I do use it. I do like it for extra advertising because then I can tell people I'm on 3 advertising boards for them.
Yes.
But it's called My State, but it is nationwide, and it
Yeah.
goes beyond Realtor and Zillow. So I like it because
Okay.
it's a cheaper advertising.
Yeah. Good to know. Thank you so much.
So which listings are you boosting?
What?
Currently, I have not done one this month, but I can do one here shortly.
Like, I guess
I'll
would the
let you guys
theory
know which one.
be you boost
Kimberly.
them to if you know that you've got people moving in from a different state or whatever, you can boost them on those MLSs?
So, like when you search for a house and your like your Texas board or whatever board you're on comes up,
Yeah.
my state MLS actually comes up as an option for that property as well.
Okay.
So like for us, I don't know how it is in Texas, but our board is only Northwest Indiana. So that's why for me, being on a second board that covers 20 counties in Indiana, and then my state covers all of them. So when you search for it, it shows up everywhere
Okay.
versus just
Yeah.
Northwest Indiana.
Is it seen?
Kimberly, what's
And
your
it,
last name?
That SUT.
SUT?
Hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm looking.
Interesting.
you, you must be in a bar this afternoon or something.
Me?
Yes.
I was actually outside, but I'm going inside now.
Oh, there you are.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Jeff.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's 2 o'clock here, so my dogs wanted to go outside.
2, 5. The same thing. It's
Right.
close.
It's like a backwards upside down five, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty close. Cool. I mean, I'll have to look into it. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about it.
I
Okay.
can probably give you my login if you want to look around on it. Like
Okay.
it gives you a bunch of
Yeah.
Canva stuff, like advertising.
Yeah, see your profile.
I wish they would update it because it's a little outdated. But you do get some like Canva posts and like marketing newsletter templates. So for that part of it, I mean, you could use it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See the link to your website. Cool. Very cool.
Good to know. All right. Anybody else? Anything you want to ask, get help with real quick?
I really liked the taking train on Monday. Was thinking about doing that this coming Tuesday. Gather your numbers and stuff like that. What would
Yeah.
y'all suggest? What would be a good suggestion for somebody that's implementing this for the first time, sharing? Well, not first time. I mean, look, we've gone over numbers, sales, and stuff like that before, but as a regular meeting topic, what would be like? What's one of the first groups of numbers? I guess what would be an interesting one? Maybe how much we've sold this year compared to last year at this time. I mean, what do you think, Ian, or anybody?
My first thought is, so I celebrated what we did in the first quarter of this year compared to what we did in the first quarter of last year for a good reason, because it was a really good number. It was our third highest first quarter that we'd had in our team's history. The tricky piece with comparing it to previous year is that previous year could have been absolutely terrible or it could have been an absolute gangbusters year, right? So that's the hard piece for that. I think a really valuable number right now that I'm focusing more on, and I've had conversations with each of our agents at some point over the last, call it 6 weeks or so, and a number that I want to dig more into is where are people today in terms of where they need to be based on their overall goals for the year. So what's their on pace number and where are they actually at? Because I think that's a valuable number for people to know. We're halfway through the year in terms of production. So we live in seasonality. So it's not going to be you should be halfway towards your goal. But based on the seasonality, where are you at compared to where you should be at? Ahead, behind, right on pace? I think that's a valuable number to dig into.
Okay, I agree.
And it'll take a little bit of time just to work through all that, but it shouldn't be that hard, especially if you have some sort of tracking, whatever you use for tracking. So that's one thought. Anybody else have any other thoughts on what do you think is the most valuable number to know right now?
That one's pretty good because you've got time to
Yeah.
change some things.
The really
I mean, I'm
surprising
looking
thing
at
will
mine
be,
and about to start sweating.
well, I was gonna say the really surprising thing that you'll find is people have no idea.
Right.
They'll say, I've had a pretty good month,
Yeah.
or I think the quarter was pretty good because it's a different mentality, right? The agent mentality is a different mentality to the ownership mentality. And so even if you're an individual agent here, you have the ownership mentality.
Hmm.
So everybody here pretty much knows all the numbers. A lot of agents don't. So
Right.
it's valuable on multiple levels.
Yeah, I don't much like my number.
Well, and the good thing is that so one of the things I'm going to talk about in here in a little bit is the idea of just slowing down at times, right? So this kind of can segue into that a little bit. The last time I led one of these strategy calls was 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago maybe, and I did it on self-leadership.
Hmm.
And I asked you all to do a bunch of self-reflection and slow down and rate yourselves and all these different things. I have a follow-up to that we're going to talk about. But I did that same lesson a month ago with our team. Because I looked back and I was like, we maybe had one of our team members on it. Maybe David or Mario somebody was on it. And I was like, this is going to be valuable to do with our team too. So I did it a month ago. The difference between what I did with y'all and what I did with them was I ended the session with them and I said, I asked the same question that I asked here, which was, what is one leadership behavior or skill or ability or something that you will personally commit to improve in the next month? Okay. Pod leads 9 out of 10 of these calls in the same way I lead 9 out of 10 role play calls. So I didn't get to come back and circle around on that in a month.
Okay.
But I did that with our team yesterday. And one of the people that answered, I shared this on role play call as well. One of the people that answered said they spent a ton of time digging into, I don't remember exactly what it was, but my response was, hey, that's great. Give me one takeaway from all that time you spent digging into it. And the answer was, I haven't really had time to stop and reflect on that question, right? I'm running and gunning in so many different places and directions, and I haven't had the time to just kind of sit in it. And I was like, that's one of the most important things that we have to do, or have somebody around us telling us to do. I'm telling Todd this all the time. But I'm telling our team members it all the time. Now, with our team members, a lot of times it's like, hey, when was the last time you celebrated a win? When was the last time you celebrated a closing? Right? Because a lot of times you're just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And then before you know it, you're burnt out. And it's like, well, what the heck am I doing this for? What's the point? Because there's never anything good that's coming from it. It just feels like I'm always having to deal with the next person, the next person, the next person. And so it was really, I think it was a good reminder to our team of like, hey, slow down and reflect on this stuff. Now, when you say, I don't much like what I'm seeing, my response to a team member would be, okay, good news is that we're halfway through the year. You have half of a year to really like what you're seeing. But the only way you're going to do that is if you take some time to sit back and reflect on what the last 5 months have been. What worked? What didn't work? What can I change? What can I improve? What can I tweak? What messaging was working? What messaging wasn't working? All sorts of those questions, right? But too often people won't do that. They'll be like, oh, I don't really like what I'm seeing. I'm just going to go do this more. It's like, but that might not be the lever to change what's happening, right? So my encouragement to you, Jeff, would be like, don't get discouraged with what you're seeing. You have to use it and naturally reflect on what the last 5 months have been, and then you can make a
Okay.
plan for the next six
Yeah.
months. So,
So maybe on a 3 or 4 hour plane flight next week, be good reflection time.
look, here's my response to that.
Okay.
No,
All right. Don't even think
because
about it till I get
you're
back.
on vacation time.
Okay.
You need to have that mental time to be able to unwind.
Okay.
Now, if Todd was sitting here, he'd say, yes, that's
Yeah.
the time to go do it, right?
Yeah.
But we're different, me and Todd. So
Okay.
I would say if you're going on vacation, go on vacation,
Okay.
right? And unwind and reflect. Now, would I try and find an hour or 2 hours between now and when you leave?
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's fresh in
Okay.
your mind and you're going to be able to do it because you're thinking about it.
Right.
I'd try and find a couple hours in the morning or in an evening or just something like find two to 3 hours where you can just sit down and just reflect on it
Okay.
between now and then, but then give yourself that incredible like trip to recharge. And then you come back and you've done the groundwork of like, okay, I reflected, I've got my notes, I've got my stuff, go on vacation, recharge, come back, and then go after it.
Okay. That sounds like a good plan.
That's my advice.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Okay. So last time we talked about self-leadership. This time I want to talk about how leaders respond under pressure. And I want to have some think time and some note-taking time on this piece of it. So we recently released a podcast 2 weeks ago that was called on the Commission podcast that was called They Say They Trust You, but Their Actions Say Otherwise. So that's just one example of like clients going crazy. We talk about a bunch about how do you respond in those situations. We list out a bunch of different things. So when things are easy, leadership is easy, right? We can all agree on that. When things are going smoothly, best leaders in the world because there's nothing we can say that will change the outcomes because everything's going swimmingly. And when things get difficult, you either have really good leaders show up or really poor leadership show up. Um, I think you've heard us talk about the Peter Principle before. Does anybody remember or know what the Peter Principle is? So the Peter
Mhm.
Principle is the idea that you will get promoted to your highest level of inability, basically. Really good at leading at this level, I'll get promoted. I'm really good at leading at this level, I'll get promoted. I'm really good at leading here, I'll get promoted. Oh crap, I suck. I'm no longer able to lead at this level or do my role at this level or do my job at this level, but I can't get demoted because that would be a really bad look for the company. So I just end up sitting in this role that I should no longer be in because I was really good below it, but then I bottomed out. That's the Peter Principle. So when things start going hard, what does leadership look like? So when deals fall apart, when clients difficult, when communications are falling down, breaking down, when emotions are massively like going crazy because these are high emotion stress situations, that's when I think true leadership comes out. So, first question I'm going to ask, and we're going to take 2 or 3 minutes, and I want you to think about and make some notes because I'm going to ask a few people to share. When you think about the best leader that you've ever worked with, how did they respond when things got hard? When things were difficult, how did the best leader you've been around respond? We'll take a few minutes to write some notes down. And if you don't have your cameras on, that's fine. Just if you can hear me, just be thinking about it. If you can write down while you don't have your camera on, no worries. But if you can still unmute when it's time, that would be great.
Can you repeat that one more time, Ian? So just make sure I
When
got it.
you think of the best leader that you've ever been around, that you've ever
Mhm.
worked with, how did they respond when things got hard?
Okay. Take ownership.
Okay, somebody would like to start us off. Like I said, I'd like to hear from two or three people on each of these things that we're going to talk through. So who wants to jump in and kick us off with talking to us about whoever that person was?
I'll go.
Yeah.
So I worked for this company one time. We built houses, we did land development, we flipped a lot of houses, did that kind of thing. And then along came 2008. And so when things got a little tougher and slower, the partners started trying to cannibalize each other. They were all fighting all the time. And anyway, this one guy, the leader, kept this whole thing together for another 2 or 3 years. And it didn't, they were able to kind of ramp it down and go their separate ways instead of it just imploding on itself. But this guy was great at that. He, reinvented the whole company. He kept the other two partners from being so adversarial and hurting the company a lot more than it actually wound up hurting it. So
So it
I think
sounds like he was kind of able to remove himself from the chaos
yes,
and just be like, okay, this is the
yeah,
hand we've been dealt with.
yep. I got to wear this hat now instead of this hat.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
yeah,
Calmness is so important
yeah.
in high pressure
Okay.
situations.
And it would have been
Um,
so easy for God just to do a bunch of knee-jerk stuff and just whatever needs to be reacted to right this minute,
yep.
which is what a lot of people would do. But I think true leaders know how to.
Yeah, in a little bit later, we're going to talk about reactive leadership versus
Yeah,
responsive leadership. So I'm
yeah.
glad you used the word reactive because, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Who else can give me an example?
Um,
Steph, then Scott.
yeah, yeah. Um, Mine was like the same thing. It was like stay calm and didn't panic. And then one thing is that they always did was they like were very communicative, in making sure that they just kind of like stayed positive and they just kind of like acknowledged the reality of what was going on and um really just they didn't blame, they listened, and like I said, just kind of took ownership, and then were kind of made like a group thing, like let's together, what can we do? Open, listen, and
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, so my story is I had just moved from New York City to Seattle to work for Nordstrom.com. And so I'm more of a turnaround guy. I used to be in charge of print and a lot of other things, and worth tens of millions of dollars negotiating. And so I think I was there a few months and starting to replace my first vendor, who I actually knew they were doing a really bad job. And there was another person who ran the department that I oversaw. There was supposedly no contract, no nothing. So just let them go or whatever. There's no contract. They produced a forged contract. I thought I was going to lose my job. Like I had done my due diligence to like, and the funny thing was like, this was a pre-press operator. They forged it. So the person who I replaced was a lefty and they signed her name righty.
Yeah.
And
Oh
her
no.
her name's there all the time. So I'm sweating this out. And I'm like, oh my God. So my boss was the CFO, but this had risen to the president. And so Dan Nordstrom, who was the best leader I had in my entire career, he was like the younger misfit brother. He came over to my desk, put his hand on me, and said, "What's the situation?" And he goes, "Scott, we're very confident in you. You have our full support. Just resolve this. And I resolved it. We gave them another chance at a lower price. They couldn't do it, and they were gone." But with that, the calmness that he did, you have the full support. I kicked ass
Yeah.
afterwards, like knowing, like, oh my God, this is who I'm working for. That if one of the worst situations comes up, they have my back.
Yeah.
And that was just an incredible feeling. I saved them so money. Another regime came in afterwards from Land's End, and they were so disappointed because I had a more inexpensive pricing than they had for 5 times the business. But just that support and having a right kind leader
Yeah.
goes a lot more, at least for me, than someone yelling at you. So,
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's great story. Thank you.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote like the words that I kept on hearing people say was being calm, not ignoring the situations, listening, encouraging. Like I think those are all key things on being a leader when it's really, really hard times, hard situations. And there's situations that come up where you have to act differently to those things, but you know, in our roles, what we're doing, well, your roles are what you're doing with clients. When is it ever a good idea to like raise the volume, right? It's the pilot analogy, right? The pilot never comes on screaming when there's turbulence. It's the most calming voice in the sky. So yes, we have to do all those things. Okay.
Can I add
Uh,
one thing real quick too?
yeah, of course.
Okay. So one thing that I feel like Terry really pushes as well is that um, always do the right thing, even if it is not in the best interest of us. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So when the hard times come, you always do what is right, even if it doesn't benefit us.
Yeah, because it's going to benefit the client, right? I mean, it's the right situation or the right thing.
Right thing, no matter what.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Okay, so uh, what would you all say are the main situations that come up that create the most pressure for you? When you think of the last year, 2 years, whatever, what are the situations with your clients where you're like, this one was a lot? This was heavy pressure. What are some examples?
I had one that I just finished. It was
Pressure.
up in Denton, and this house wound up with a bunch of rotted cast iron plumbing. And I had a newer buyer's agent on the other side that thought, man, this plumber should be able to just go out there and knock that out in half a day. And it took weeks. to do, and it was keeping her calm down and keeping the buyer that I didn't even know in the deal. I mean, it was one of those that just because of an inexperienced agent on the other side advising her client, they didn't understand just the magnitude of this. It was a, you know, 40, $50,000 repair
Yeah.
that you don't just snap your fingers. I mean, they had guys over there digging tunnels so they could get under there. I mean, it was crazy.
So what were those conversations like?
She just didn't understand why is this taking so long? And every time I drive by there, there's nobody working and this and that. And I guess it's the only deal she had, and she lives 2 blocks away. And so she was jokingly, she was our general contractor, you know, and it was just a lot
Yeah.
to keep her in check and keep the seller from getting mad.
Yep.
You know, he's getting mad at her because she's questioning everything, and it
So what would you say were some of the key leadership lessons or things you learned during that process?
you know, I should have, and I've had this happen before. I should have just stopped and said, I got to get out in front of this. I got to be calling her every day or twice a day or whatever and kissing her rear end a little bit
Mm-hmm.
instead of just reacting to her phone calls and texts. I think that could have helped some.
Yeah.
Um,
It probably would have helped your sanity, which
yes.
therefore would have helped with
Yeah.
tone and all these other things that come when
Yeah.
we just get whatever flustered or whatever. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'm sure that would have.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would
It
have.
towards the end, it turned a little bit adversarial because I think that she was like it wasn't important to me, and I'm like, God, is it not important? I got to get this closed, you
Yeah,
know?
no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
who else? What are some other situations where you're just you're the most pressure that you felt? And it doesn't have to be with a client, it could be other pieces of the business.
Ian, when you were when you started talking about this subject, I literally had our a lady that answers the phone come in and give me a message here and say, you need to call this person or he's calling the Alabama Board of Real Estate Commission. So, I mean, as soon as you started talking about that, and it wasn't really, it turned out to be nothing. He rented a condo and the the pool is shut down and has been for, quite a while, but we don't manage the condominium complex he stayed in, but he was so he got the wrong management company, but
Yeah.
it turned out, so it just, that was funny when I always love those calls, like call me or I'm calling the Alabama Real Estate Commission, so.
Yeah. That's my answer, right? When I get the Slack message from Gibson, hey, need you to call so and so, they're not happy, right? Because they called the main line, and it's just like, like it's a sigh, and it's a what is this gonna be? And it's call the agent and get the agent's perspective on everything first, equip myself, and then go into that conversation knowing I'm gonna have to de-escalate more than likely. I'm gonna have to talk around some things. I'm gonna have to listen. And it's like, yep, I know those things are gonna come. Angry clients, right?
Yep.
Is never a fun thing. Horrific inspection reports, never a fun thing. Hard conversation with clients, never a fun thing. Who's ever experienced conflict with a teammate or a team member or witnessed it between team members, right? As a leader, what do we do in those situations,
Mhm.
right? We step in at times. We had it not too long ago here where a couple of people they weren't going at it, but they were just disagreeing on something that was going on a two-sided deal. And I just had to step out and I had to call time out and I had to say, you guys need to go into your separate corners and take a
don't come
breath.
out swinging.
Not come out swinging, Jeff. Wrong message, buddy. Take a breath and then come back and have a conversation with each other. And Steph actually made note of it yesterday, and I asked Steph to share
Yeah.
some things that she'd learned from her first 6 weeks here. And
Mhm.
she brought up that story and she was like, it was
Mhm.
so good to be able to see that happen. And my message to Steph
Mhm.
was healthy conflict is healthy. It's a really good thing when you can do
Yeah.
conflict healthily. It's also what breaks people up and breaks teams up when it's just not handled, when it's just swept under the rug and
Yeah.
isn't dealt with. And over 10 years of working here, I've had a handful of these times that involve me, and they're never fun. But when we come out of them, I can say it's always been better because you handle things healthfully and you just deal with it. Like do the same thing with your clients, but leadership's going to have that type of thing. Um, letting people go, right? Whether that's letting clients go or letting team members go. All these things, like these are just situations, just examples of like time that pressure comes in and our leadership styles and our leadership abilities are put to the test. So part of why I'm doing this is because I love, if you haven't figured out by now, I love slowing down and having self-reflection time. And I'm trying to teach my kids to do this um, because my kids are going to be 14 and 15 this year, and they live, the lives are moving so fast compared to what it was when we were kids, right? And I'm 43. And there's people older than me here, and every generation it feels like moves a little like faster, especially in these teenage years. And I'm trying to get my kids to like shut down the devices and just reflect a little bit on what's been going on. After church every week, it's like they just want to be on the phones. And it's like, no, no, no. What did you learn? Talk to me. Tell me what it was like. Give me something that you got out of it. How was school today? It was good. Like, give me something. Anything more than it was good. It's fine. Right?
That's hard.
It's not that hard, but it is for the 14 and 15-year-old hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like blah blah blah. I don't know.
But the easy thing as a parent, as a leader, would be to just let that go, right? And just be like, okay, I asked the question, I'm good, right? And it's like, no, 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 like that's not leading very well. Um, all right, I want to move on to two other things before we finish. Reactive leadership versus responsive leadership. So I'm going to give you 5 examples of reactive, 5 examples of um, responsive. Okay. So, and we've broken it down into like reactive people, but responsive leaders. Okay. So reactive people oftentimes blame people. They'll panic in situations because they're reacting to the situation. So something happens that's poor, that's negative, and they blame somebody else. And then they start panicking about what that's going to be. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to have any form of communication about it because they're just living in this world of panic. And that just leads into complaints that we were just talking about, right, Tim? Like people, what was it? What was the pool isn't working? Is that what it was?
Hmm.
Pool isn't
Yep.
working. So I'm blaming somebody about it. I'm frustrated about it. I'm going to complain about it. And the last note that I've got here is that spreads stress, right? Tim gets the note, I've got to call so and so because they're going to call this. Your immediate gut feeling, Tim, was
We're getting sued.
right? It's like, no, why is this happening? And it's this like the knot forms in the stomach, and it's like, ugh. So if we react that way to situations, we know we're doing this same stuff to other people, right? So it's like we don't want to be that person, right? We don't want to be the reactive person, or at least we don't want to act in those ways like a regular reactive person would do. Of course, we're being reactive if something happens that is out of our control, but we have to respond accordingly to it. So when the high pressure situation comes up, The responsive leader, the person that's trained themselves and has equipped themselves and has thought about this, they do what Jeff's person did, and they slow down. They take a step back, they remove themselves from the situation, and they slow down. I remember when I was in the police and we would get called to domestic violence situations. That's the easiest example to give. And you are running into an extremely high stress situation. And that could involve guns, knives. It could involve all sorts of things, right? Because we don't always know what we're running into. But when we get there, sometimes you have to break people up and you have to separate them. But then the thing that we cannot do as police officers is just make a snap judgment, right? Never a good idea. So we have to slow ourselves down to be able to begin understanding what's going on in the situation. That's what a good responsive leader does. They're going to communicate clearly. Okay? They're going to get a plan in place because they've slowed down, and they're going to think through how can I get my point across that I need to get across right now. Again, it's exactly what Jeff's guy did. Came up with a plan and was figured out how to execute it. They're going to be able to identify their own problems. If they're a part of the problem, they're going to be able to identify it and they're going to be able to solve for that. Maybe ask other people, hey, how I know I'm the problem here. How can I get out of the way on this piece of it? And then they're going to obviously think through the solutions that go around it. Okay. And ultimately that's going to, instead of creating stress and panic, it produces like stabilizes the room. It keeps everything calm and level-headed. And we have to decide to ourselves, okay, well, which one are we, right? So I think one exercise that I want you to leave here with, I'll give you the 5 things on each thing again. Reactive people blame others, they panic, they avoid communication, they complain, and they spread stress. But the responsive leaders are the ones that slow down, they think through the communication and they do it clearly. They recognize their own problems. They focus on what the solutions are to a scenario. And then that creates an ability to keep everybody calm in the room and it stabilizes it. So we have to think to ourselves, okay, well, which one do I lean more to naturally? And if it's the first set of 5, then I think you spend a good amount of time thinking through, okay, well, why do I respond that way as opposed to responding the other way? Find some resources, think through that, talk with others, get some feedback, because ultimately we want to switch that, right? We want to be more on the responsive leadership type of thing. So nobody needs to be perfect when leading. There's no such thing as a perfect leader, but there are steady leaders and there are people that can do it on a more consistent basis than others. So that's kind of the main theme of the day. We could do some role play stuff, but I don't really think we need to do that. But does anybody have any thoughts on that? Like, I wanted to take some time to just take a step back and just add on a further thought on leadership because I think it's such a valuable thing that we all get to do on a daily basis.
And this is a great subject. I was just laughing that call came in as soon as, because I'm like, oh, this is great. I want to sit here and listen to this because nobody hands you a book when you become broker, and you talk Brian about this, and we made Brian broker at our Florida office. Nobody gives you a book that says, here's how to do it. And especially if you're in the mindset that you want to change, you got a great business, a well-established company with a good reputation, but there's no, like, how are we going to change for the future? What are we going to do things different? And that's 100% the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
On this Zoom call today and with y'all's team is because nobody gives you a book, says, here's here, become broker, here's the handbook. So
Yep.
That's why I think Brian can vouch for that, saying that's why we're here. So this is a very timely subject.
Good. I joked with Todd on Monday. We had been working on something that we were really excited about, and it fell through on Monday. And he called me, and he was like, "Leadership, huh? It's uh, it's just smooth sailing, no ups and downs. It's calming, it's relaxing." And my response was, "Oh, it's in all of the mental health books, like start a company and lead people. It's all over the mental health sanity books." And it's like, nope, it's not in any of those things. It is roller coaster of times, and there's no handbook for it, and we mess up and we make mistakes and we learn from them, and
Yep.
that's all we can do.
Yep.
I was going to say we could probably all see a little of us in both of these, right? There are times where we're reactive or we want to be reactive. And then there's times where we're way more responsive. And I think the key is to be able to see our part in it clearly, which is on the responsible side, and be able to change some of those reactive things about us. Right now, I have a deal where the real problem is the seller's agent. They cannot seem to get their crap together. They cannot hit a deadline for anything. They cannot respond by a deadline. They are horrible communicators in general, and that affects how my client, because I don't want them to think that they know that it's the other agent, but it could come across that I'm simply not communicating well with the seller, and so that's why they're not getting back to us. It's clear what the problem is. However, when I got a message from this agent yesterday, what I wanted to do was blow my lid. I was so pissed off. And I really, the reactive side, I text Tracy, who is our office manager. I'm like, you are not going to believe this crap. Look what her response was. And she said, I cannot wait to see what your reaction is, or what your response to her is. And I had to take a couple hours before I could respond back and be that responsible leader and respond in the kindest, most professional way, because what I wanted to do was punch her in the throat. You know what I mean?
All
So
right, we're gonna play a
it's like,
game, Danielle, of how well do you remember our coaching calls? The fun game I like
yeah,
to play on here.
okay, yeah.
So on one of mine and Danielle's private coaching calls, what was the last thing I challenged you with on our last call?
It was to find out who I truly, what my what is the word? Who I was, like, what are those personality tests and things like that?
Uh-huh.
Take a deeper dive into who I was and how I react to other people so that I could lead better, instead of what are other people's personalities, what is my deep personality, and how can I get to know myself better so that I can react better to other people.
The good news is Danielle listened to our call and remembered it. So that, at least that's a check mark. I'll take that from
Yeah.
me, right? That's a good thing. Yeah, I said to Danielle, I was like, hey, I think a big turning point for me in my leadership style was when I took the Enneagram test and I understood what my Enneagram style was. And importantly, I researched and looked up a lot about what is the good Enneagram 8 and the bad Enneagram 8. So if you don't know what the Enneagram 8 is, it's the challenger. It's the person that's not afraid of having the conflict. It's the person that's not afraid of having the hard conversation. It's the one that's going to challenge other people. I'm an untrusting person, but if I trust you, then I'm all in with you, right? But like, don't damage that relationship because it's very hard to get that relationship back. And so there's a lot of these like pieces to me that I it was exactly who I was, but I didn't understand who I was until I really dug deep into this probably 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, 8 years ago. Um, and so I had said to Danielle, like, hey, you should dig in deep on what your strength finders is, what your Enneagram is. Like, the more you can understand about the way you're wired, the more you can help lead other people because you'll do it in a way which is the positive side of you and not the side that's just going to piss off and annoy people. And that's been same for me with parenting. right? It's like I need to understand who my kids are, but I need to understand who my kids are. It's not as helpful if I don't know who I am because I know what my tendency is to react. And I know that's not always the best or wisest thing. So, yeah, I'm glad we had this conversation because if you don't know the answers to all those questions about your personality stuff, go spend some time doing it. It's super valuable and none of them are perfect, but the more you can learn about you, better you will be as a leader. I mean, it's the biggest point I can make. So, any
I
other?
also think
Go
that
ahead.
I also think that if you feel like you want to be reactive on something, find your person that you can talk to privately and vent and get those maybe initial feelings of frustration and anger out before you respond to that person. It's very healthy to have that one person that you can vent with and help dispose of that frustration before reacting. I don't know.
Super
That's
helpful to do that.
Agreed.
Also, super helpful to treat yourself as a child and put yourself in timeout.
mm-hmm.
Like, I'm serious. If I'm like losing it at home with one of my kids because they're driving me absolutely insane, I'm like, I'm putting myself in timeout before I say something that I shouldn't say. So, I'm a 43-year-old child right here. I'm not ashamed to say it. So, any other final thoughts from the session? Cool. I do hope this was valuable. Thank you, Tim, for the feedback. I really enjoy doing these types of sessions because I find them useful and I think they're valuable when we slow ourselves down and do some reflecting. So, Jeff, have an awesome trip. I will be gone the next couple. I'm going to Canada next week for the Montreal Formula One race,
Oh, wow.
which will be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We fly out next Thursday, but I'm going to be out Wednesday to Wednesday. So, yeah. So you'll be on a beach in Curacao. I'll be at a racetrack in Montreal.
Yeah.
Both sound pretty cool.
Very
Yep, they
cool,
do.
very
Very
different.
cool.
So,
Have fun, Ian.
thank you, buddy.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All
Yeah,
right.
both of y'all have fun.
Talk to you later.
Bye.